One of the
the
things we
threats
also
that
do in the
comes.
year-end correspondence roundtable is dig into what was undercovered or underreported. Jan?
Undercovered, underreported. That would be, to me, Joe Biden's obvious cognitive decline that became undeniable in the televised debate.
At the presidential debate with Donald Trump.
Unquestioned. And, you know, it's starting to emerge now that his advisors kind of managed his limitations. It's been reported in the Wall Street Journal for 4 years. And yet he insisted that he could still run for president. We should have much more forcefully questioned whether he was fit for office for another 4 years, which could have led to a primary for the Democrats. It could have changed the scope of the entire election.
I'm going to let you finish, ma'am, but this needs to be commented on just a little bit before she continues. So she says that the most underreported, undercovered story of the last year was Joe Biden's obvious cognitive decline. Funny, you're right, it was obvious. And actually over right here on this screen, this one right here, on this show, on this channel at Town Hall Media, we covered it a lot, ma'am. And not just me and this voice for Town Hall, across all of our websites, Town Hall, Red State, PJ Media, Hot Air, Twitch. We were talking about it. By the way, not just us at Town Hall. I'm thinking pretty much every right of center website, publication, streaming channel, broadcast news channel, cable, well, there are no right of center broadcast news channel, cable news channels. We were all over that story, ma'am. It wasn't underreported. It wasn't undercovered. But you're right, it was obvious. In fact, when we did cover it, you all called us liars. You all said we were engaging in cheap fakes. You said that there was misinformation. You said that there's no actual evidence that Joe Biden is suffering from any mental, physical, or cognitive decline. That's what you said. That's what your colleagues said. All right, so that's number one. Number two, I want to remind you that she's sitting here navel-gazing, saying, oh, yeah, we really missed that story, when that is literally their job. It's their only job. Imagine being a political reporter and admitting after the fact that you missed the only significant, important story of the year, which is the president of the United States is incapable of being president of the United States. It's like being a sports reporter and saying, yeah, you know, that whole football season, we totally missed it. Who knew that they were playing football in this country? Number three, did you catch at the very end there? She said, we should have been more aggressive on this story because it could have forced a primary process, which would have changed how the election went. In other words, the reason she's finally circumspect about her role as a political reporter in Washington, D.C. in 2024 and ignoring and choosing, frankly, to cover up rather than cover the decline of the president's physical, mental, and cognitive abilities. The reason she regrets it is if they had been on the story earlier and actually told the truth instead of covering for Joe Biden, then they would have had a primary process and maybe they would have had a better candidate who would have beaten Donald Trump. See, the real regret here is that Donald Trump won, maybe because they didn't push Biden out soon enough. They are so corrupt. They are so awful. Even when they're acting like they're admitting they got something wrong, they're actually revealing what their true intentions are. But this isn't even the best part of the clip. In a moment here, you're going to see a guy chime in. His name is Robert Costa, White House correspondent for CBS News. I think he still has a byline at Washington Post as well. Now, I just want you to know that Robert Costa, to many of us here in Washington, D.C., we used to call him Bob. I think he goes by Robert now for a couple of reasons. The first is he doesn't want to be confused with Bob Costas, the obnoxious, horribly insufferable sports guy from NBC News, because the names sound alike. Bob Costa, Bob Costas, right? But he also goes by Robert now because he's a very serious journalist. See, back when we all knew him as Bob, he was a reporter covering politics, but not for CBS News, not for Washington Post. No, he covered it for National Review. National Review, of course, is a conservative news site. And when Bob Costa was working for National Review, he was, well, there's no other word for it, conservative. But now he works for Washington Post. Now he works for CBS News. And now he's Robert. And just wait till you hear what Robert brings to the table here in discussing the biggest underreported, overlooked story of the year, Joe Biden's cognitive decline. Take it away, Bob.
We read in the Washington Post that his advisors are saying that he regrets that he dropped out of the race. You know, that he thinks he could have beaten Trump. And I think that is either delusional or they're gaslighting.
President
American
Biden
people.
has said repeatedly he was sick during the debate June 27th in Atlanta, and he's always been fine, and he leaves fine. That is his position, the position of many of his top aides as well, even though there is that reporting.
Robert Costa.
That's just glorious. That is chef's kiss. That we got to watch it one more time.
As said repeatedly, he was sick during the debate June 27th in Atlanta, and he's always been fine, and he leaves fine.
Joe Biden has said repeatedly that he was sick that night at the debate, and he's always been fine, and he leaves office fine. Look at his face. Look at the arched eyebrow. Well, there you have it. There you have it. Thank God, Robert Costa to the rescue here. Sort of setting the record straight on everything. Hey, you're saying this was an underreported story, but let's just remember, everybody, Joe Biden says he's fine. And that should be the end of it. No more questions asked, because we're reporters after all. This is journalism now. I want you to remember this moment. I want you to remember that face. I want you to remember Robert Costa and the entire panel there at CBS News Face the Nation, because there's discussion now about the President of the United States. And Robert Costa just said, hey, Joe Biden says he's fine. He said he was sick that night. He's always been fine, and he's leaving office fine. And that apparently is supposed to be the end of the story. So over the course of the next 4 years, there's going to be a lot of things said in Washington, D.C. about President Trump. And President Trump is then going to make a statement, and he's going to say that what's being reported is false, and the truth is whatever Donald Trump says it is. And I want to know if Robert Costa is going to use the Biden standard on that. Hey, everybody, stop saying that about Donald Trump, because Donald Trump has said this. And so there you have it. Do you think that's how they're going to cover the Trump presidency? Do you? So everybody, we're back to where we were in June, right before the debate. Don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe what you see. Don't believe what's clear on video. Don't believe what you're hearing, where he mangles every other word and can't put a sentence together and can barely walk. And they have to put him up the little baby stairs to Air Force One. And they got to have handlers help him walk across the South Lawn from Marine One into the White House. Don't believe any of that, because Biden says he's okay. And that's good enough for me. That's good enough for Robert Costa of CBS News. Wow. Hey guys, it's me, Larry from Town Hall. Thank you, first of all, for finding my personal YouTube channel, Larry O'Connor. And I hope you enjoy this video. If you missed it over at Town Hall, take a look at it over here on Larry. And make sure you like and subscribe here, because in the next month or so, there's going to be a huge flow of brand new content, totally separate and independent from my work over on the Town Hall channel. I think you can take a double dose of Larry every day, and you're going to get quite a bit of it right here. So like, subscribe, share our videos whenever you can, and go ahead and look through the archive, because I've been doing stuff here on YouTube for many, many years, including 1 year of my O'Connor Tonight primetime show, as well as a lot of work that I used to do with Breitbart and radio work. So take a look at it, and we'll see you soon with some new videos and new content coming out ASAP.